Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hashtag AskGSM, August 23rd, 2016. My voice is already shot. We're only 15 seconds into the fucking video. Oh my God, John, this is it. We have never, very rarely do I do hashtag AskGSM on Tuesdays, but please explain to the audience why we're doing it today and where we've been for the last 3 days.
Well, audience, let me explain why I sound like a transvestite who's been smoking for 15 years. We have been at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2, SummerSlam, and Monday Night Raw in the last 72 hours, and our voices are shot. But we're gonna rough it. We're gonna do hashtag AskGSM because the people demand it. They demand it. Bang bang. Have a nice day.
You sound exactly like Mankind.
I'm not even trying to.
That's amazing.
It's that bad.
That's great. You're doing a spot-on McFoley impression.
Wow.
You're Mick
Thanks.
You're the Raw GM.
You know, Vince, I really appreciate that.
Well, today's video will be glorious, as you could probably see.
Oh, yeah.
Today's going to be great. Today's going to be great.
great.
Oh, but yeah, like John said, we had TakeOver, SummerSlam, Raw last night. John, in one word, how can you sum up the weekend?
Long.
Long. Well, I was going to say glorious, but long. Very, very... what's the word for it? Very long and exhausting.
It was a marathon.
We got back last night at like 3 o'clock.
Unlike anything I've ever experienced, I'm glad we did it. I don't know if I'm physically able to do it again, but it was something for the record books. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely, very well, much so. So we'll talk all about SummerSlam, TakeOver, Raw from last night, all from the last couple of days. As last year's post SummerSlam video was, today's video might not be too long.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. One, our voices are shot.
True.
Two, a couple of reasons. Two, you got to get going a little while, so it can't be like 3 hours today. And three, I forgot to ask you guys the questions. I put out a tweet literally yesterday as we were leaving John's friend's house in Queens, and that's why we didn't record yesterday. Not like we would have anyway. I think it's better to talk about it after Raw.
Yeah.
Which is good after we were already there. But, so I forgot to put the question out on Facebook. I forgot to put it out on Twitter, but a bunch of you guys sent in questions anyway, so I appreciate that.
Because they're loyal. They're loyal.
You are loyal motherfuckers, and I know you love the bookings here on hashtag AskGSM. The last time that we will be together on this platform until probably the last Raw of the year.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Last week of the year, or maybe the final time in 2016. We'll see. And it's been an amazing year, right?
I don't know if we could call it my favorite year.
It is for me. It already is.
We asked me on December 31st.
Okay.
That's what I'll tell you.
How about this? I'll make you a deal. I'll ask you on the final hashtag of 2016.
All right. You got a deal.
You got a deal. We'll watch this footage back. Instant replay. And you better give me an answer.
All right.
Okay, so before we get started, guys, as always, if you want to send in a question, be sure to tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Leave a comment on the post. I usually, keyword there, I didn't do it last night, usually put up on Sunday nights or on the wall itself, or leave a comment on this very video. Be sure to include your question in next week's edition. So we'll kick it off with I'll start with the YouTube questions, because you guys asked before the Twitter people did.
Hell yeah.
Fuck.
Hell yeah.
You guys go to the Twitter
What
section.
happened to YouTube? Oh, we're botching mania.
Fuck, where it is.
Botching mania.
There we go. I'm going to have to block her out of our own show. That's fine. Okay, Captain Sunshine, you're up first. So, that Lesnar-Orton match is going to be a conversation for a long time, more than it deserves to, personally. The big topic is whether or not it's a work or a shoot. John, I know you have a lot to say on this. Yes. Or if we're all working each other's into a shoot. But what I'm more interested in is the TKO that was the planned finish. Was that chosen to end the show? And after that U.S. title stuff, no less. Did anyone rethink the match placement? John, you are full of thoughts on this. I'll start with you.
So this is a great loaded question. Good job, Captain Sunshine. You got a lot of good questions in that. So when Graham and I were sitting in the Barclays Center Sunday night, we were just as baffled as anyone to see a terrible U.S. Title segment end the way it did. And then everyone got excited for the match that drew the house, Orton versus Lesnar. And after 7 or so minutes, Brock Lesnar busts Randy Orton open with an elbow. Huge gash on his head. And the ref has to call it. Shane McMahon runs down. F5. Everyone goes home, baffled, confused, chanting NXT, and we want a refund. So not a great finish. to what was supposed to be a great show, and what, in my respect, was a great show with a lousy finish. So from what I know, everyone there that night thought it was a shoot. Everyone there, I can't speak
at
for
the time.
I can't speak for everyone.
Most people.
The general consensus was that it was a shoot.
Yeah.
So then later on, like Graham alluded to, we stayed at my buddy's house in Queens, and he's personal friends with someone who works in WWE, and I'm not gonna give names because that would be bad. But
You're fired.
one of his buddies said that they looked at a script, and the TKO was the planned finish. The technical knockout was the planned finish. And they were going to go up there with Shane getting F5'd, and that was going to be the end of the show. What I believe was a shoot definitely was a shoot was that elbow.
And explain why, please.
Because you can't work that fucking elbow. If you look at Orton's head, everyone was saying it was a blade job. There was a huge gash on the top of his cranium. That's a blade job. That's the worst blade job I've ever seen. Orton would not take a blade to his skull. You do the forehead. So Orton Lesnar hit Orton with the elbow, and Orton started leaking everywhere, which I'm assuming was not how that intended to go. But I mean, once Lesnar took off the gloves, in story, that's when the TKO should have happened.
Yeah.
So I guess the match was supposed to end around the 7 or 8 minute mark, regardless, which is awful in retrospect. But I'm gonna say, as an educated wrestling fan, the TKO was the planned finish. The blood was not planned. So, and then Shane McMahon getting F5 was also planned. Mm-hmm. But everyone was chanting Goldberg. We wanted Goldberg to come out and save the day, and that didn't happen. So a very weird finish to what was supposed to be a phenomenal pay-per-view.
Yeah, very weird finish indeed. I mean, I thought the match itself, I thought it was just getting good before it got the abrupt finish. And if that was what was supposed to happen, like not only with the TKO, but cut right there as opposed to maybe 5 minutes down the line, kind of disappointing. I was hoping for more from that. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the finish itself was planned, as you said, but the way it happened was a total shoot. You can't cut yourself that deep. That was a deep fucking gash and get 10 staples.
10 staples. And even the backstage reports of Chris Jericho getting in Lesnar's face and Vince McMahon, the only way to get them separated, Vince McMahon had to say it was a work. He had to yell, so stop it. But so the TKO was the planned finish, but you can't work that blood. You can't work that.
Yeah, and we talked about this after the fact as well in terms of the match placement and the lineup. I thought TakeOver's match lineup was perfect. I thought Raw had great pacing too last night. SummerSlam was a lot weirder. After Cena AJ, the show peaked with that match. And then they were excited for some spots. We got dead for other matches like Ziggler Ambrose, which was rightfully so. We shouldn't really be blamed. Brooklyn should not be blamed, I'm being biased there, for anything really but the Universal title shit. We'll probably talk about this. Someone she'll bring it up, and if we don't, we can bring it up ourselves if someone doesn't ask about it. But yeah, just the U.S. title stuff. It should have been the other way around. They should have done the brawl on Raw and then the match on the pay-per-view because they had a really good match on Raw. I just thought it was ass backwards. We don't even know if that feud's continuing because Roman Reigns is in the next week's title match. Rusev isn't, so we'll see. But fucking weird. We'll move on. Emmanuel A., also from YouTube. Interesting fact pointed out by Michael Cole during Charlotte's entrance at SummerSlam that I felt the need to discuss immediately. Charlotte is now 14 in pay-per-view matches. The 2 losses being the tag matches and the MSG special. And the MSG special. Oh, I don't really count that though. I mean, I guess he's counting Battleground and shit like that, but I wouldn't. Or not Battleground, sorry. What was the fucking Roadblock? But
essentially, she's 12-0 in pay-per-view single match.
Yeah. I know pay-per-view. I know there's kind of a blurred line there, whatever. In the MSG special and Battleground, speaking of, and 11, 12-0 in pay-per-view singles matches. This also means that she's the second person behind Kevin Owens to have competed in every pay-per-view of their debut year. It makes you wonder, does Charlotte have the most successful first main roster year in WWE history? Of anyone, I'm not sure that's debatable. I'd have to really go back, but I mean, it can be debated. Yeah. I mean, let's recap here. I mean, she debuted in one of the greatest debuts in recent memory in that part of the Divas Revolution with Sasha and Charlotte, with Sasha and Becky. Great debut. Had the entire universe talking. Started off the Team PCB shit, which was not really that good, but they made an impact. broke the record, not broke the record, but ended Nikki Bella's record-setting reign as Divas Champion, and went on to beat everybody, have really good matches with Becky, Nikki even, Paige, Italia, and now Sasha Banks, pretty much everybody up and down the line. So, I don't know if it's the greatest of all time, but it's certainly up there.
Charlotte is already going to go down in the history books. I mean, we were talking about this last night. She is one of, maybe the top heel on Monday Night Raw. I mean, she has legitimate heat, but she can legitimately go. I mean, she can work, and that's something that you don't see often. I mean, especially with all the hip, cool heels in wrestling these days. I mean, Charlotte has put on great matches throughout her first year, and she's hated by the WWE Universe. So she's doing a great job in that heel role, which I was initially skeptical about. I thought she might be better suited as a babyface, get Sasha Banks in as the heel. But no, I really like Charlotte as the heel. I think she's had one of the best rookie years of all time. I mean, she's in the discussion at least. And the thing is, even though she's been prominently featured over the last year, she still feels special to me. I mean, I still enjoy seeing her. I think every time she comes out, something big's gonna happen. And I'm not a big fan of her protege Dana Brooke, but
yeah, she's awful.
I think that Charlotte's done some amazing work over the last year.
And the Ric Flair stuff too. I thought Ric Flair's involvement as part of her act, as a heel, I thought was great down the line. So she's one of the few true heels on the roster right now. Mm-hmm. Speaking from experience last night when we were at Raw and SummerSlam, that she is the one heel that everyone wants to boo. Yeah. Jeri-KO, Owens, we love him, so I'm going to cheer him. Charlotte, I think she's a great heel, but I still want to boo her.
Yes. Exactly.
She's that good. And also, too, I forgot to mention this. The one aspect of her work I think has really come a long way is her mic work. I think that Ric Flair breakup angle a few months ago was awkward as hell. I thought it was really, really weird. Mm-hmm. Last night, she was on fucking point. On one of the biggest nights in recent memory in her career for the debut of Bayley. And whenever she has to deal with a rowdy crowd, it feels like she kind of gets nervous and kind of fucks up a little bit. Last night, not one of those times. Get over yourselves already when they were chanting Bayley before she came out. Like, she's really good at that now, so props to her all the way around. Blue-Eyed Assorted, my brother Jason, his question was, the dumbest gimmick in your opinion since you started watching wrestling in 2008, John, for 06? For me,
there's been so many.
I mean, the funny thing is, as soon as you sent that in, Jason, the one character that came to mind, and it was just a huge coincidence that John's friend brought it up yesterday when we were at the diner. Fucking Kizarny, one of the worst characters I have ever seen. It's so bad that John, who has an amazing memory, did not even remember it. I barely remember Kizarny. That was fucking terrible. So I might have to go with Kizarny, but John, that's like the first answer that comes to mind. But John, what about you?
I mean, I might have to steal your answer because I'm just not. I can't really think that well right now. But I mean, Kevin Thorne would be in the discussion.
That was bad as a vampire.
Vampire. The zombie that opened WCW in 2006.
Bunny, that was bad. The bunny with Adam Rose. And Adam Rose was doing that pedophile gimmick a couple of years ago. That was bad, too. But yeah, those are a few.
Paul Burchill getting ready to do that incest angle could have been pretty bad.
That could have been bad, yeah.
The Boogeyman's a legend, but still, as far as
he lets a few slip through here and there. Yeah, I'm trying to think in the last 10 years. There's been a lot, but those are the ones that prominently come to mind, though. Frankishire 15. Was this year's SummerSlam a disappointment? In my opinion, other than Cena Styles and Rollins Balor, the rest of the matches were underwhelming. Ambrose and Ziggler, Orton Lesnar, Sasha, Charlotte. I'll have you start this one, John.
I don't think SummerSlam was a disappointment. And then obviously, different.
You were there. Yeah.
I haven't watched it back on the network. I don't know what the perception of the audience at home was who watched SummerSlam. From someone who was there, I thought it opened up very well.
Very well.
With the with Enzo and Cass. I mean, they were hot. They were over. Like, that's what over sounds like.
That's an understatement.
They had a great match with Jeri-KO. Then we transitioned into what I thought was a good match between Sasha and Charlotte.
Very good match, yeah.
It wasn't their best work. Obviously, the match on Monday Night Raw was better. They had some slip ups. I mean, Charlotte dropped Sasha on her head off the top rope, which is very scary to see in person. But I thought the match came out well. It had a nice finish, and I just think whenever they're in the ring together, they do good work.
Yeah.
AJ Cena, obviously. I mean, this might be the first time we're saying this on any platform, but we discussed this together. My new personal favorite match of all time. I just watched it back last night in full on the WWE Network. Still could say it was my favorite match of all time. So just because of that alone, I have to say SummerSlam was not a disappointment, but it did have its downfalls, and we're going to get into that. For me, being there, I wasn't turned off by the Ambrose Ziggler match too much because I was just tired. We'd already been there for 3 or so hours at that point.
Yeah.
So fatigue had really set in. That match could have been a lot better.
Well, 5 if you include kickoff, by the way, too. We were there since the beginning for the most part.
Well, that match could have been a lot better as far as crowd involvement. But everyone was just so goddamn tired. Like that's just you can't get around that. If you have
That should have been the opener.
If you have a 6-hour pay-per-view, you can't get around that. But for me, what really disappointed me, and I was very vocal about this, to Graham at least, the Brooklyn audience during the unveiling of the Universal Championship, they did not stop with the that new belt sucks. New belt sucks. Or belt sucks. Belt sucks. Or that new belt sucks. I mean, it just didn't stop. Like, and it honestly,
it was cute for like a minute.
I didn't even think it was cute. I thought it was, to me, it was just very distracting, and it really took away from the match for me. I mean, as soon as those chants started, I stopped caring what was going on, and it really just ruined the night for me. So honestly, people at home might have thought Balor Rollins was a great match, but I barely invested into the match in Brooklyn because I was so distracted. So I wouldn't even consider that match like as a part of what made SummerSlam great. Just because of the Cena Styles match, I gotta say that SummerSlam was not a disappointment, even though it had a weird finish and the Universal title match was overshadowed, was hijacked. But I'll still say SummerSlam was not a disappointment.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a disappointment. Again, it's going to be very controversial depending on who you talk to, how much they enjoyed it. It had people talking. I mean, everyone that we talked to on Sunday night and Monday had definitely differing thoughts in the entire show. People that were there said it sucked. I mean, again, so it's not just us being there saying that it was amazing. But I thought it was a really enjoyable night. But yeah, Cena Styles alone made it worthwhile to be there. I invested in Rollins Balor. I mean, the chants were annoying. I thought the match was very good, that notwithstanding. Really good match. A great moment. Unfortunately, it's irrelevant because he had to drop the belt the next night, but still, really good match. But yeah, Ambrose Ziggler was fucking mid-card fodder. That was not a WWE title match. Ziggler, I'm sorry, no one cares. If Brooklyn does not give a shit about Dolph Ziggler, no one's gonna give a crap about Dolph Ziggler. I'm sorry. I mean, I like the guy, but it's past his prime at this point. So we'll move forward. The first KFC's got a couple questions here. First one being, how crappy was that Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton finish? Will there be another between the two, and when should it happen? Yeah, again, the finish was overbooked. Not overbooked, just oddly booked. I would not have done the TKO. I would have given them a few more minutes. If the match was supposed to end there, maybe not in that exact fashion, but if it was supposed to end there, I would have given them at least another 5 or 10 minutes. Like John said, it was the match that drew the house, and it wasn't done in a way a la Cena Lesnar from 2 years ago at SummerSlam where he just beat the shit out of him. Orton did get offense and he hit an RKO, he hit a couple RKOs, going for a punt. It was just getting good into the next gear, like a real match before it ended abruptly. So, yeah, I think the finish was disappointing, and we were talking about this too. Should there be a return match? I feel like there should be. I feel like Orton should, or Lesnar should win that one too. But maybe making no DQ. I would do it, maybe not at WrestleMania, maybe do it at the Rumble or special on the network. But yeah, I think there should be another match though.
The real question is, does Orton want to work with Lesnar?
Probably not.
Again, I mean...
That's not his call though.
It's not his call.
Yeah, but I agree.
Orton has enough stroke at this point that he could probably call the match or not, whether he wanted to do or not. And I'm sure Randy Orton, with, I mean, his history of a short temper... I mean, obviously he's, an older, gentleman now. He's 36, but still, if I was Randy Orton and I just got elbowed in the head, 10 staples, I mean, obviously he signed up to do this kind of thing, fighting Brock Lesnar. There's no walk in the park.
No.
But I think what really stood out to a lot of people in Brooklyn and maybe a lot of people at home is that Brock Lesnar isn't exactly safe to work with. I mean, that was obviously known to a lot of people, but after Sunday it was really emphasized. And a lot of people on Twitter I saw were kind of over it. We're kind of over his shit. I mean, he comes around for 2-3 matches a year, and he can't even put on his Ambrose match at Mania wasn't good. His match with Orton at SummerSlam was not good. And a lot of people were just kind of over it. They were saying he was a cancer to the wrestling industry. I think you have a ready-made match for when Lesnar comes back. Orton, Lesnar 2 can sell tickets as long as they do it correctly. As long as they have, a 15-minute match that doesn't end weirdly as weirdly as it did. The ending was booked poorly. There's no way around it. The ending was booked very poorly for a match that drew 15,000 people. To have it end in 7-8 minutes the way it did, not a good ending.
I think most of it too, not most of it. I think some of it also has to do with the booking of his matches. I feel like also should be mentioned. I feel like WWE at this point has kind of gotten comfortable the way they're booking Lesnar in terms of him just beating the shit out of his opponents throughout the match, which can be entertaining when he's working with Bo Dallas or maybe even Big Show. But when you're facing Orton, Ambrose, these other top tier names, it gets old after a while. This is not the same match that we saw less than a year ago. It's not like Lesnar isn't capable of having a great match. Watch Hell in a Cell. That was a really, really good match. So he's capable of having really good matches. It's just a matter of booking him the right way. I don't know why WWE is so, they're so hell-bent on booking him in a way where he's unstoppable for 7 minutes. That's great and all, and now he has more heat than ever before, and I understand that, but it kind of sacrificed the integrity of the match. What could have been a really, really good wrestling match or an entertaining match, they kind of sacrificed that. So we'll see where it goes. Should Chris Jeri-KO and Kevin Owens continue teaming? Yes. These guys are amazing. Unless KO wins the belt next week, which I don't think he is, I would keep these two together. They are super entertaining. So
I like the team of Jeri-KO. It reminds me a little bit of Rated R KO, which is a funny name in relation to Jeri-KO. So I like them teaming together. There were kind of seeds of dissension last night on Monday Night Raw with them kind of arguing over who would win the Universal title if given the chance, and then Jericho or Kevin Owens didn't exactly help Jericho win his match. Roman Reigns ended up beating Chris Jericho in the main event of Monday Night Raw last night.
he did try.
So there might be some seeds of dissension, but honestly, I would love to see them contend for the tag team titles at Clash of Champions in a month's time. So let's see where this goes. I would like to see them continue teaming.
I think it'd be stupid to have them beat Enzo and Cass in SummerSlam and then break up right afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think they will continue to team. We'll see where that goes. Is Dolph Ziggler's push done? I think we'll find out more tonight on SmackDown, but I think so. They beat him clean, and if there was going to be any place to turn him heel, they could turn him heel tonight. Could turn Ambrose heel, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I feel like if they turn Ambrose and have Ziggler be the sole babyface in that feud, I mean, no one's going to get behind him. No one fucking cares about this guy.
I mean, the real testament to his push being done is that only a half hour after he lost to Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship, he was in that KFC commercial as Colonel Sanders.
Awful.
Fighting The Miz in a chicken suit. So that just goes to show what they think of Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, he's a joke at this point.
I've been a Dolph Ziggler fan. I can't say that I currently am a Dolph Ziggler fan. And it's not anything that he's done. It's just the fact it's just start-stop pushes. His just weird booking. I mean, Graham and I have said time and time again, if you're going to pull the trigger on Dolph Ziggler, it had to be in November 2014. And we said this recently to each other, 2015 was perhaps the worst year in Dolph Ziggler's career. It was just a bad year to be the show-off. So, honestly, I don't see really anything salvageable about Dolph Ziggler at this point.
Especially with so many top-tier names, up-and-coming athletes, guys like AJ, Corbin, Kalisto, Cruz, guys that are 10 times. Miz is more over at this point than Dolph Ziggler is. That's where it's gotten in 2016. Mr. Beetle 890, most underrated SummerSlam match. Underrated? Sasha Charlotte was pretty. I would say also the opener.
Are we talking about
last night? Yeah, we're talking about Sunday. Yeah,
most underrated SummerSlam match
might be the opener, or the women's match. The second women's match.
There you go.
That was very underrated. I enjoyed that.
The 6-man tag between Carmella, Naomi, and Becky versus Alexa Bliss, Natalya, and Nikki Bella. It was actually a very well wrestled match. They told a great story from bell to bell.
Yeah.
And had that match maybe been before AJ Cena, I mean the pop for Nikki Bella was already great. Literally, her return woke people up from the Dean Ambrose Dolph Ziggler match. People
got a bigger reaction than anything else in that match.
And Naomi's entrance got a bigger reaction than anything Dean Ambrose or Dolph Ziggler did, which says a lot. I would definitely agree. That was a very well wrestled match. It told a lot of good stories, and I'm excited about the women on SmackDown. I really am.
I agree. So, most overrated SummerSlam match. Overrated? There really wasn't an overrated match that people were saying that was, oh my god, that was fucking amazing. Like, Cena Styles was that good.
It was well rated. I mean...
Was there really anything?
I
don't think so. I don't think people were raving about like the tag team title match or anything like that.
Can't really speak to that, no.
I don't really think, unless anything else comes to mind, I don't think there really was an overrated match at SummerSlam. You may have answered this before in a previous edition, but who is your favorite all-time wrestler? For me, William Regal. He got me into wrestling, so, I mean, Punk's up there, Jericho's up there, AJ Styles is up there. He's always been at my top for wrestling overall, but WWE specifically now. But Regal's always number one. John?
For me, it would be Shawn Michaels. He was the guy who got me, hooked on WWE. And then a close second, Daniel Bryan.
Easily. And we got to see him on Sunday night, too.
We did.
Your first time seeing him in a WWE ring?
WWE ring, yeah.
Great shit. Mitch G's got 6 questions here. First one being keep or erase 10-10-10, which we talked about the other day, or May 19th. That's so funny because both angles for WWE and TNA were so well hyped. There was a lot of buzz and were just such fucking flops. The May 19th shit was Luke Gallows dressed as Imposter King. That was awful. The Immortal thing was cool at first for like a month. And then they just fucked it up. Hardy fucked up. It was just a disaster. I would say this is really, it really doesn't matter because both angles sucked. But probably 10-10-10 just because I was going nuts when Hardy went heel. I mean, I don't think it was the right decision. The guy was uber popular. Why would you turn him heel? But I did like the whole Antichrist of pro wrestling for a little while. For as long as it lasted, I thought it was cool. So I would keep 10-10-10. Erase May 19th.
I just watched May 19th back on the WWE Network because they just had all the 2006 episodes, and that's when I got into wrestling. So what I've been doing is watching from the Raw that I started watching 10 years ago, and kind of trying to chug along for the next subsequent episodes, hopefully to finish 2006 at some point. So I literally just finished the May 19th angle, which for the shit it gets, I will say from the perception of the crowd in attendance, there were May 19th signs everywhere. People were chanting May 19th during Kane's match. So in retrospect, it was a dumb angle because it culminated into, it literally was just a promotion for his movie See No Evil. And then it ended with him having a match with fake Kane and then ultimately just throwing fake Kane out of the building
literally
on a Monday Night Raw and never to hear from him again. And the whole thing, I don't know, I didn't watch Backlash or whatever pay-per-view this match happened between Kane and the Imposter Kane.
Vengeance. It was bad.
It was Vengeance.
It was very bad.
I've never seen that match personally.
Don't.
But one of the angles was that, or the story elements was that this was one of Kane's friends growing up. And they never really expanded on that.
I didn't know that.
That was one of the elements of the story. Kane said he knows exactly who this is. He's known him since he was a child. So, and they never really expanded on that. So, for as bad as it was over for a time. But I'll still agree with you, and I'll keep the Rise of Immortal over the stupid May 19th gimmick.
Keep or erase, and people are still talking about May 19th to this day. Every year, May 19th, people are still talking about it, which is crazy. Keep or erase the Legacy's tag team title reign or Cesaro and Kids WWE tag team title reign. The Legacy, they weren't the Legacy when they held the belts. They were Team Priceless, Cody Rhodes and DiBiase. They held the belts twice, but I couldn't name one really good title defense that they had. Mm-hmm. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro were champs for 2 months, but had some great matches at WrestleMania. Even when they lost the belts, New Day, that was a great match. Their match against the Usos at Fastlane was the best thing on that entire show. So easily Kidd and Cesaro.
I would agree, 100%.
When is John Cena's character at his worst, in your opinion? To me, there are times when he just seems like a homophobic bully, like the night where Xavier Woods challenged him for the United States Championship, and when he acts, like all of his respect for him just vanishes. So I know what he's saying, but when is his character at his worst? It really isn't all that bad now. Like you said, that homophobic remark, he does that every now and again. There was a time where he was doing that every single goddamn week. When he was making fun of Vicky and her weight every week, all that shit was awful. It was terrible. And Jerry Lawler would encourage it. But he's not really like that anymore. Or when he's making poop jokes and stuff. I say that all the time. I hate poop joke John Cena, but he hasn't done that in a long time. Yeah. This feud of Styles has been amazing. And even the U.S. Open stuff last year was really good, having some of the best mic work of his career with Kevin Owens and others. So I would say not really all that much anymore, very rarely. I mean, it's not the exact opposite. We would very rarely get a serious, on-point, great John Cena. We're getting that on a near weekly basis now, match-wise, promo-wise, character-wise, everything, and not so much poop joke John Cena. So,
John Cena at his worst for me has not been around in a long time, like Graham just said. I mean, the incarnation of John Cena that we've seen over the past 2 years at least has been great, entertaining, great matches, great mic work. So all in all, the John Cena that we've known over the last 2 or so years has been phenomenal. For me, I have to go back to around 2010, around that time period when the decade started. The John Cena that I hated that was at his worst is similar to the Roman Reigns that we have now, and it was just no matter what, through and through, just not acknowledging the amount of hatred that was going towards him. And I can only explain that as to being like, if people are, I mean, John Cena's always been better than Roman Reigns at like kind of taking the heat he's getting from the crowd and twisting it, but when he does that, he just comes off as like a snarky, cocky, arrogant son of a bitch. And Roman Reigns, the thing I hate about this guy, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, is that he just will never acknowledge the fact that he gets booed out of every building he walks into.
Cena at least does that.
Yeah, Roman Reigns acts like, it's all good, which it's really not. But yeah, John Cena just, cracking jokes despite, thousands of people telling him he sucks. That was when I wasn't, really into him. But now he's kind of owned it. He's really doing his thing on the mic. His matches have been consistently great. So I'll say John Cena's worst has not been around in quite some time.
Quite a while. After wrapping up the next feuds, would you like to see a Dirty Heels versus Jeri-KO feud? As money as that would be, that's not happening, nor do I want to see it happen right now. Bobby Roode is great on his own for the moment. A Dirty Heels reunion in NXT on the main roster, whatever, would be amazing. Glorious even. But not right now. It looks like Aries is facing a Tommy anyway, so that wouldn't even really make sense. Like we said, we want to see Jericho New Day. So not right now.
Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to me like Jeri-KO will be around as long as Bobby and Aries will be for the foreseeable future. So maybe a year from now we'll see that, but still, Bobby Roode and Austin Aries are doing their thing in NXT right now. So, and Jeri-KO are doing great on the main roster. So it doesn't appear to me like their paths will cross anytime soon.
Rank these themes, all of Jeff Hardy's themes from WWE and TNA. No More Words, which is obviously his WWE theme, you know that. Another Me, which he used when he was a heel. Modest, which was his first ever TNA theme, he used that for a while. And Resurrected. This is a good question. I mean, I like all these themes. I don't like Modest at all. I never liked that song Modest that he used. By the way, he also sang all those songs except for No More Words. But yeah, Modest, I never liked it. That'd be at the bottom. I only recently liked his WWE theme. That's only like grown on me just recently. Another Me was great. Resurrected was great. It really doesn't matter the lineup here. So I'll just go Resurrected, Another Me, No More Words, and Modest. I just don't really like Modest. And do you have any input on this there?
I can't really speak to this. I'm not a huge WWE music mark.
Yeah, or no, even TNA music mark. Even
mark, so
yeah.
I like the song that Jim Hardy comes out and dances to when he comes to the ring.
WWE or
it was a joke, Graham. It was a joke. He dances to every fucking song he comes out to, Graham.
Brother Nero doesn't.
No, fuck Brother Nero. We're talking about Jeff Hardy.
They're not the same person?
No!
Fuck. Which did you enjoy more? Edge versus Dolph Ziggler from the Rumble 2011? Or Christian Orton Orton, are you kidding me? Like, I loved Edge Ziggler. That's a great match, but dude, fucking Christian Orton is one of my favorite matches / feuds of all time. That match was amazing. Had it not been for Punk Cena, it'd probably been my favorite match from that year, so easily Christian Orton. Have you seen? Yeah, obviously you've seen.
I've seen both goddamn matches. Yes, Graham.
Your thoughts?
Christian Randy Orton, 100%. That was the most underrated rivalry of 2011. I mean, if not for Punk Cena, Christian Orton would have been any other year. Christian Orton would have been the rivalry of the year.
I still think it is.
Wow.
In my opinion, it's a bold statement, but you would say Christian Orton though.
Yeah.
Better match. What you enjoyed more anyway. So we'll go from that to the Twitter question from the Twitter machine. At Mark the Man 07's got a couple questions here. Could King of the Ring be made great again to include wrestlers from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT? And I talked about this a few weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be kind of dumb just to do Raw exclusive or SmackDown exclusive. I would make it a WWE Network exclusive show and include people from both brands, 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown. But I think you can make it great again. It doesn't matter I guess it does matter who's in it, but it's got to be booked the right way, taken seriously. You can't have guys like fucking R-Truth and Stardust in there, people that are just jokes. Hornswoggle back in '08, I know, is in it. Fucking great Khali. It's got to be a real, legitimate, credible thing.
Yeah.
Prestigious event. And who wins it has to be booked properly, not with a fucking plunger or stupid-ass cape or a crown. It's got to be booked properly. So, John, can King of the Ring be great again?
More importantly than the tournament itself, you have to have the winner mean something. And that's something we haven't seen since William Regal in 2008. The King of the Ring tournament is great and all, but when you take someone like King Barrett and you have him beat Neville for the King of the Ring, and he does nothing for the entire year, he does nothing to prove that he is the king of the ring. There's no point in having the tournament to begin with. Similar to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Sure, that's a sweet trophy, Baron Corbin, but what does it do for you for the rest of the year? Like, it's a cute moment, it's a cute little resume builder, but it doesn't really help your character in the long run. So if you're gonna bring the King of the Ring back, make the King of the Ring the number 1 contender for the next pay-per-view, like they did like they did for
O2, for Lesnar, yeah.
So have it mean something like that. I mean, if it doesn't mean anything, why do it?
Exactly. It's pointless. Not just to fill space for a pay-per-view, which I know they love to do. Any bookings that you were disappointed with at SummerSlam? Well, I wasn't disappointed with. We are the bookings, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, obviously the main event. The lack of heel turn or excitement in Ambrose Ziggler. I was disappointed with, obviously, the chance. That wasn't really a booking decision. The belt I'm disappointed with. I'm not going to cry about it in the crowd, but like other people did. But, yeah, those were a few of the things I was disappointed. We already kind of covered this.
Yeah,
but
I'm just looking at the main event between Orton and Lesnar, really reevaluate what you can do to give everyone their money's worth and have them not chant, we want refunds.
Yeah.
So...
his next question, who do you see as a next possible opponent for The Miz, or is Apollo Crews entitled to a rematch? I don't think the feud is over. I would be disappointed if it is. I like Apollo Crews. I think he is the one to take the title off Miz. But like I told you, I think this isn't really your question, but I would keep the belt on Miz for the next year. And I think that's possible with a brand split. And you can have him build up as like the next honky tonk man. That's what I would do. He's already been champion for almost 5 months at this point. That's a long ass time. I think one of, if not the longest reign that Miz has ever had as champion ever, regardless of what title it is. But, yeah, next opponent, other than Apollo Crews, maybe Kalisto or a 4-way with Corbin, Kalisto, Crews, Miz at Backlash. That'd be nice. But I think Crews, his title championship chase should not be over just yet.
No, definitely not. I think Apollo Crews has a lot of untapped potential. I mean, people really like to bash Apollo Crews for whatever reason. They don't think he's too interesting on the microphone apparently, but I think Apollo Crews has a lot of potential. I mean, his in-ring work speaks for itself. He has consistently good matches every time he's in the ring. I mean, he can work. I mean, I don't know about good matches. It takes two to tango, right? He can work, and I think Apollo Crews would make a great Intercontinental Champion. So I hope that rivalry isn't over just yet. I'd like to see maybe one more match at Backlash, but I can't disagree with you with having Miz be champion for a year. I mean, that would be some great heat. People would pay to see him lose the title eventually. So.
Exactly. He's doing the best work of his career right now. On that same topic, his next question. Are Gargano and Ciampa entitled to a tag team rematch against the Revival after their match at NXT TakeOver? Are they entitled to a rematch? No. Do I want to see a rematch? Yes, because that match was goddamn great. Again, I don't know how you build to it in storyline. I mean, Enzo and Cass lost to the Revival at London, but they got a rematch at Roadblock. They lost both times. Mm-hmm. So you could do it. You can continue to build the feud. Their match was so good. I would love to see round 2. Mm-hmm. We saw 3 matches from American Alpha Revival. I see no reason why we can't see another one between these two teams. But, yeah, I would love to see it continue.
Especially because there's no clear babyface team on the rise right now to kind of take over the Revival as far as the tag team championships are concerned. So I would like to see another Gargano-Ciampa match, especially because their first match was so great. I'm sure there's a bunch more they have up their sleeve. So a return match for those 4 men would be phenomenal. Maybe, if they do take the tag team championships, have them work with the Authors of Pain next, call the Revival up, and there's a lot you could do, but that rematch needs to happen.
TM61, I think, can be the next babyface tandem, but not right now. They're just being built up. At RJ_Marso, my brother RJ's question was, what is next for AJ Styles after SummerSlam? Will WWE... Oh, these are 2 separate questions, I guess. The first one being, what is next for AJ Styles after SummerSlam?
Jesus, WWE Championship.
Why not?
Give it to him.
Why not? He's addressing John Cena tonight on SmackDown, so this might be old news by the time you watch this, but... he just beat John Cena clean at SummerSlam. How do you not put him in the title picture?
Backlash. I think the main event of Backlash should be Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, John Cena, WWE Championship.
If Cena doesn't go away, yeah.
If he doesn't go away.
I agree. And Cena hasn't been in a World Championship match in almost 2 years at this point. Since last year's SummerSlam. But he hasn't been in the main event of a pay-per-view since SummerSlam 2014. It's officially been over 2 years.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. Actually, not a champion, sorry. But close, you know what I mean. Anyway, so his next question, will WWE ever figure out how to utilize Bray Wyatt? I guess is a better way of RJ asking the always infamously awful question, what is next for Bray Wyatt? John, you just didn't know?
No, they will never, because they would have done it by now.
It's been how many years, John?
3, as of SummerSlam, 3 years since he's had his first match. August 17th, right?
Yep, 18th, yeah, but yeah. SummerSlam 2014, 13, you're right.
So it's been it's been 3 years now. You think they would have got,
You really are Mick Foley.
You think they would have gotten it by now. But they don't. They have no idea what they have because they would have realized it by now. Hopefully they can pick up the ball, but like we're experiencing currently with Dolph Ziggler, if you wait too long, people are going to stop caring. I know a lot of people have stopped caring about Bray Wyatt because he's all bark, no bite. He cuts great promos and then loses, and that's his gimmick. And then he'll come back and target a new person for absolutely no reason, cut a great promo and lose. That's kind of the Bray Wyatt, cycle of things. The thing about Bray Wyatt is he doesn't need championship gold. He's a great character. He just needs to win. He just needs to win matches. To me, he's more mysterious than he has more layers to him than someone who's specifically here to be a champion. He could make a great champion, but I think if you just book him well, make him unstoppable, and then kind of like Brock Lesnar, the person who stops him will have a major rub.
Yep.
But everyone beats him, so what's the point?
I mean, people still pop when he comes out. He has a cool entrance, but when you're not on SummerSlam weekend, that's not a good sign. So we'll see. I mean, you just got to turn a babyface. That's the only thing, but they have yet to do that, unfortunately. At Shawn Marcus, Nick's got a couple questions here. Thoughts on the Universal title design? It sucks. I mean, what else can we say about it? It's not good. The thing is, I'll say this. It's not ugly. It's just unoriginal. Like, why would you do the same title design as a WWE title and the women's title? It might make sense in the long term if they make the WWE World title blue for SmackDown, but for right now, I just think it's unoriginal. People are hoping for Winged Eagle and all this other fucking elaborate shit, but that's not what we got.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I didn't think it was ugly. I'm in favor of different colored straps. I was one who got tired of the black straps for every title. So I was in favor of the red strap. But my biggest gripe is that it's unoriginal. I mean, next thing you know, that's how the tag team championships are going to look, just with a green belt, and that's how the cruiserweight championships are going to look, just with a purple belt. So I don't want to see that, because then every title appears the same, and you're putting, and then you don't have really any tiers. So going for the U.S. Championship will be the same thing as going for the World Championship, and that can't happen. There needs to be a hierarchy to let the viewer know where these guys are on the card, because that's an essential part of this. Of WWE, of storytelling, because then when you see a guy go from mid-card to main event, there's more of an investment, there's more of a journey, a story of a journey. And if there's someone coming in and who wins the Intercontinental Championship and has the same design, just different colors of WWE Championship, there's really no differentiating in the mind of the fan.
Yeah. Oh, is that one blue? Is that the top title? Is purple the second tier? No, that's this title. It's hard to explain to casual fans. And it's just stupid. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. It's stupid. In your opinion, Was AJ Styles versus John Cena the match of the year? Yes. Honestly, yeah. I mean, name me a better match. Other than, I said this to you last night, Shinsuke, Sami Zayn. Amazing match. I could see why people would say it's the match of the year. No build. Yes, it was Nakamura's first match, but I'm taking everything into consideration here. Fan involvement, drama, storytelling, kind of aftermath, impact, victory, like clean, dirty, whatever, interference, everything, build. That match had no build. It really had no build. They just said Nakamura.
Shinsuke Zayn.
Shinsuke Zayn had no build. They just said, hey, Nakamura's first match. And it was an amazing match, and it was the match of the year to me before last night, before Sunday. But that feud was perfect. I mean, everything from their first confrontation to Styles, beating him via interference, overcoming the odds with the club, and now finally beating him clean. Makes perfect sense.
For me, it's my favorite match of all time. It just outranks Shawn Michaels' Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. Great match, great storytelling. Crowd involvement was off the chains. It was a great match of the year. Yes.
Easily. Did the crowd ruin Balor versus Rollins? Yes, they did.
Yes.
We talked about this before.
Yes.
We don't really need to go more in depth, but I just thought it was ridiculous.
For every 10 or for every 10 fans chanting that belt sucks, there were 20 people who were trying to watch the match and couldn't because they were being distracted by the guy next to him who thought it was funny to hijack the show. Me being one of the people, I couldn't get invested in the match at all. It's almost like it didn't happen. Like I couldn't recall one event from that match. The spot where Balor got injured, I was looking at my phone because I was just that uninterested because the fuckers behind me kept chanting that belt sucks. So I didn't care. It's all, I should have cared. It's all because of the Barclays Center, and I'm still I have sour grapes about that, but nothing you can do.
Mark's next question meant to ask, what do you think will be Bobby Rhodes' next major rivalry?
Bobby Rhodes.
I assume you're talking, that maybe his next main roster name. I assume you're talking about Bobby Roode. Next feud, I don't really know unless they, rush right into Shinsuke versus Bobby, which I don't think is the case.
You gotta build to that. That's gotta take time.
I'm fine with Bobby No Way Jose. That could be fine. Bobby and Tommy at some point. It looks like he's busy with Aries. That could be cool. Yeah. There's a couple different options.
I mean, there's people that we don't even know already on the Performance Center that could call up and get over.
Sanity.
Get over big time. So
Sanity. It looks like they're calling up. I don't know who that is. We'll have to find out. But I'm intrigued. Let's scroll up here as we let's see. Oh, that Scarlet one's got a couple questions. How do you remember 2007 WWE? Again, I didn't watch during that time. This is really a question for John.
Well, you threw it right to 2007 was the perennial year of John Cena. Really, it was. I mean, that was the year that he held the championship for over 10 months. In 2007, held to October.
Yeah, well, I mean, he held the belt for over a year, but in 07, 10 months.
He held it for 10 months. There was really no one who could stop him. That was really one of his legacy building years. Yeah, you have the breakout year of Edge. To me, 2006 was a breakout year, but he was the main
on SmackDown.
On SmackDown, and became that main event world champion status level contender. 2007 was a great year for me, and as me personally as a fan, I enjoyed it very much. One of my favorite matches of all time: John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Hour in England. Great match. Go watch if you haven't seen it. But I think 2007. In the history books, will go down as the last year of the Wild Wild West. It was the last year before WWE went PG, so there was still a lot of not that I'm saying PG wrestling is bad, but it's literally the last chapter in a book before you flip the page. Now we have a new set of rules, a new status quo. So I would recommend anyone who hasn't gone back and watched 2007. You're going to see a lot of John Cena, and if you're not a big John Cena fan, maybe it's not for you. But 2007 was a fun year, and to me it was kind of like the last stop before this new PG setting that we're all familiar with.
As someone who didn't watch WWE in 07, when I think of 07, I think of John Cena, I think of Edge, and I think you forgot to mention this, Batista Undertaker.
That was a great feud.
The feud they had on SmackDown over the course of 07. And I think a lot of stuff, all this stuff that you just mentioned about that year gets overshadowed by the Benoit shit from that summer. But it's not like it happened at the start of the year, so that summer was kind of weird. But other than that, I feel like it was really solid. Would you call it underrated?
I don't know where it's rated now. I don't know.
I mean, underrated. I mean, in your opinion.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the general consensus of 2007. In my opinion, I enjoyed it, but I don't know if hundreds of people around the world hated it.
That's the thing. You don't know because people don't talk about it. So I would say underrated.
Well, then, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because people don't really... I don't hear people talking about 2004 a lot. I mean,
2004 was a good year.
who says that? I haven't heard anyone say that in the last 10 days. I haven't heard...
Well, I mean, you know it's a good year, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like
The best way for me as a fan to decipher, when I look at a year, I look at what was the WrestleMania card, what was that like, and that's the easiest, that's the most hands-free way to kind of say, was that a good year? If you just look at the WrestleMania card, that can be deceiving and kind of lazy.
yeah, WrestleMania kind of sucks some years. 2011.
Yeah, I know. It could be. Well, 2011 was
late 90s, late 90s too.
I don't care what you say. 2011 was not a great year, even though you have a personal.
No, I know. But I'm specifically talking about the 90s. Those WrestleManias sucked, and those were the best years the company ever had.
All right, but you can't look. WrestleMania 14, one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time because of the main event. Because
One match.
Because Mike Tyson was. It was literally a new era. Was the Austin era began, and I mean. It's not the whole WrestleMania card. It's the perception after the show.
For the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so WrestleMania 14 have to go down as one of the greatest just because of the main event. Because Mike Tyson gave WWE that mainstream exposure that they were so desperately needing against WCW.
But again, 15, same thing. One match in the show otherwise was not good at all.
All right, well then...
And that was one of the best years the company ever
fuck Graham. I hate Graham.
I'll say this too. 2000 also sucked, and that was an amazing year. So not always. I know what you mean.
I'm going to take a shit on Graham right now. 2007 was fun. WrestleMania 23 was fun. That's the easiest way to look at it.
That's the best way to sum it up. Keep or erase The Miz as WWE champion? I would say keep.
Keep.
Honestly, I mean, a lot of people are going to say erase, but I thought he did some great work as champion. I mean, it wasn't the best reign ever, but keep. Keep or erase. Keep, erase, and revision. The Invasion and WCW Alliance. RVD's WWE ECW title reign, or the Nexus? Great question.
Can I start this one?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to erase the Nexus. I'm going to keep RVD's title reign. I'm going to revise the Invasion.
I was going to say revise the Nexus, keep RVD's title reign regardless. But I think you're right. I feel like the Invasion, if you revised it the right way, it would have had a bigger impact than the Nexus. So, yeah, I'll have to agree. Revise. I was going to say keep the Invasion. It was amazing. I'm just kidding. Revise the Invasion, keep the title reign, erase Nexus. Keep or erase the Attitude Era Phase 1, the WrestleMania 14 to Survivor Series 99, or Phase 2, Armageddon 99 to WrestleMania 17. You guys know I've talked about this time and time again here on hashtag, on WrestleRant, pretty much everywhere. I don't like 98. I talked about it a few weeks ago. 98 was one of the most financially successful years WWE from a financial standpoint. But personally, I do not love that year watching it back. Like, we watched a Raw from that year, and it was not good. I mean, if you watched it at the time, I'm sure it was entertaining, but just me, knowing my personal taste, I do not like that year. So this is like night and day. It has to be Phase 2. I fucking love 2000, though. Watching pay-per-views back from that year, it's a great year. And some 99 stuff, too. Mm-hmm. So easily Phase 2 for me. What about you?
I would agree with Phase 2. I mean, the early stages of the Attitude Era, which can be traced back to August 97, really, when DX formed, not just when Austin won the belt at WrestleMania 14. The early phase of the Attitude Era, they were still finding their footing, WWE. And it wasn't as much of a wrestling show, in my opinion, as it was more of a reality show, or not a reality, like a television show, a soap opera. I would say that the more wrestling-centric phase would be Phase 2 of Armageddon 99 to WrestleMania 17, X7, 2001. So I'll keep the more wrestling-centric phase, even though you can't undersell the great things that happened between 98 to late 99. But still. Also, your phases are pretty weird in this question. One is a year and a half, and one is 2-3 years. No? What? Yeah. March 98 to November 99, then you got December 99 to March 2001.
Phase 1's a little longer.
Phase 1's longer?
Phase 1's longer. Armageddon, I think, is December of 99.
Yeah.
That's like a year and 3 months.
And then this would be...
Phase 1 was like a year and like 8 months.
Yeah, fuck me. I'm sorry. I got that wrong.
But no, you are right though. That is a little weird. No, I understand. I mean, maybe to you,
That's when.
what's the significance there though?
I mean,
what's 99 survivors?
Austin getting hit by a car.
I guess, yeah. I don't know, but phase 2, I guess we'd have to go with. That's just personal taste for me personally. I know there's some great moments in phase 1, but phase 2 for both of us. As John watched the final deletion and broken Matt Hardy's antics.
Oh my God! Yes,
Delete,
I watched
delete,
the final deletion. I wasn't a fan of the final deletion. Honestly, the weeks leading up to the final deletion, I watched too, and I wasn't a fan of Matt Hardy's antics either. I thought he was kind of embarrassing wrestling a little bit, but I've since then grown more lighthearted about it all. And I think that it is entertaining. I can't not laugh at the dilapidated boat.
Dilapidated boat. Oh shit.
And the third Carter.
The third Carter.
So, I mean, Matt Hardy is entertaining. I'll give him that. He's completely rebranded himself. So I give a thumbs up to everything Matt Hardy's doing.
As you guys know, I've been a huge Matt Hardy fan for a long ass time now, and he is more relevant now than he has been in the last 10 years, easy. So I listen in a good way. So I love Matt Hardy. That was more designed for you, not really for me. But rank all past NXT Championship reigns from least memorable to most memorable, at least from Neville Joe. So who did we have? We had Neville, we had Zayn, Owens, Balor and Joe. Nakamura. Well, let's not count Nakamura. It's only been 2 days. So
No.
can't really say it's been memorable.
It's already memorable.
Fuck, it's already better than everyone else's. Least memorable, easily Sami Zayn. He held the belt for 2 months. No one really remembers he was champion. It was a great win though. Neville, I guess. Now that he's a loser.
He was one of the longest reigning champions.
That's the thing, but no one really remembers it.
Because no one was watching NXT.
That's it. I mean, I hate now.
I didn't see a day of Seth Rollins' title reign.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a great reign, but no one really remembers it especially now that he's irrelevant. So Zayn, from least memorable to most memorable. Zayn, Neville, and we had what? Balor, Joe. Who was the last one? Kevin Owens. Balor. Fuck.
Balor being the most memorable, then Joe, then Kevin Owens, I'd go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Owens had a great reign there, but I think Joe and the other two are more memorable. Yeah, so I'd go with those two.
Actually, time out. Kevin Owens brought the title on Raw. Kevin Owens brought the fucking title on Raw.
He defended it on Raw and SmackDown, too, so.
Kevin Owens.
Let's go.
Balor, Owens, Joe. Fuck me.
You're right, no.
Zayn, Neville, Joe, Owens, Balor.
Agreed. At E13's got 4 questions here before we wrap it up. Where does SummerSlam this year generally rank amongst past SummerSlams? Low tier, middle tier, top tier? For me, middle tier, I say.
Middle tier is where it would be. I mean, in the spectrum of great SummerSlams, you gotta look at 02.
Every one in the last 5 years has been really, really good. It's hard to rank them, but it was middle tier.
I would say this year was better than last year.
Oh, yeah, definitely, but maybe not better than 2013 or 2014. It's hard. It's hard to say. The thing is, John, is that we were saying it was an amazing SummerSlam halfway through, but I feel like people really judge these shows based on, what happens last.
Yeah.
So, but I would still say middle tier, all things considered. What's the most absurd wrestling storyline you've ever seen from your time as a fan or even before you watched? You're covering more ground than I am, so.
For me, I mean, there's been a lot of absurd. For me, the most memorably absurd one, and the one that this actually broke kayfabe for me. I don't know if I ever told you that this broke kayfabe for me. Was Vince McMahon being blown up in his limousine, then reappearing on the Chris Benoit tribute show.
Oh yeah.
To say that to remember Chris Benoit, and then only a couple months later to come back for the $1 million giveaway. What was it? I don't know.
$1 Million Man. That whole everything with McMahon in 07, 08 was fucked up.
And his reasoning for killing himself or dying in the explosion was to see if anyone cared about him. So that broke kayfabe for me. I don't know where they were going with that death angle. Had Chris Benoit not died, I don't know what they were going to do with that.
I don't know.
But I'd love to know.
It was awful, though.
So
I don't know why would you.
That would be the most absurd thing I've ever seen.
I agree that would take the cake for me if I've been watching as long as you. In the last 8 years, I don't know. What else has happened since 08 anyway? I mean, the illegitimate storyline shit, illegitimate son shit was awful too. I don't know if it's absurd, but the Ziggler-Lana Rusev, that's just a terrible feud. I don't know if it was really absurd. That was just terrible.
That was absurdly bad.
That was absurdly bad. Everything, here's your winner. Here's your fucking winner right here, and you might agree. Most absurd storyline. Kevin Nash texting Kevin Nash from 2011. Easy.
He snuck into Triple H's office and took his phone and texted.
He texted himself. And John Laurinaitis getting involved, and that led no fucking awful. Easily that one. Is Rusev secretly a babyface?
You'd think so.
You would think so if you watched SummerSlam as a casual fan.
He was injured, couldn't defend his title, and then got destroyed by that dastardly Roman Reigns.
And he walked out last night because he was hurt. He was just nursing his injuries. So
I mean, the fact that he was made to compete after being attacked and assaulted brutally at SummerSlam is an injustice on the part of Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. He should get 30 days off, paid, not have to defend his title, and Lana should suck his dick every 5 minutes.
Amen to the last one. Last one. MVP of NXT SummerSlam Raw and one underperformance.
Ooh.
You mentioned this yesterday. Why don't you bring it up?
This might be controversial. I think so. I asked Graham yesterday.
Can we go full circle here?
I asked Graham yesterday whose stock rose the most. Not whose stock was the highest, but who had the biggest surge.
But that's the word, MVP.
All right. Well, I'm referencing the conversation.
No, I'm saying, but MVP, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like most valuable, even I would say most improved too. But go ahead.
So, whose stock surged the most? Now, when you look at NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura walks out the NXT champion, so he must be the MVP. But his stock was already super high. He didn't need to win the NXT championship to still be considered one of the top guys in NXT. So I think MVP, most valuable player of TakeOver, the guy whose stock surged the most and has the brightest future, will be Bobby Roode of NXT. SummerSlam, I'd go AJ Styles as the MVP of SummerSlam. And John Cena, you really got to give it to them both. And Raw, the MVP, I want to say Bayley, but I think just because of the reaction he got in his departure shows that people really are invested in him. Finn Balor, I would say, he got a standing O, walking out and relinquishing the title. So I'll give it to Bayley, but I think Finn Balor's not far behind.
But overall,
of the entire weekend, Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode, yeah. One underperformance.
One underperformance, as in
underrated performance. Like one performance, basically one underrated performance that people aren't.
I don't know if underrated performance is the same as underperformance. Who underperformed? Who didn't perform?
Oh, okay.
Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose, that's a good one. I'd agree with Ambrose. NXT of Bobby Roode, AJ. I'd say Bayley. Maybe Jeri-KO too. Jeri-KO was in a lot on Raw this week, and he was really entertaining. So, but I had to go Bayley for Raw. But overall, I'd say Andrade Almas. Bobby Roode, obviously. So we'll go full circle. We start with fucking Glorious, we'll end with Glorious, and that's it. And those are all the questions that we sent in, that you guys sent in without me asking the questions. So I can only imagine how much longer we'd be here if I put the shit on Facebook and whatever. So I apologize to my Facebook peeps. Next week we'll get back to you. And before all the cheap plugs on my end, where you guys can send in the questions, John, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me at Twitter at JNapsRingRap on Twitter. I just sent a little something in to.
Wait a second. We're gonna spoil it? Or we're gonna
No.
We give a little teaser for the people.
Yeah. Big things are coming. Big things
popping, little things stopping.
No, a lot of things are stopping. A lot of things.
Ooh, a lot of
my
things.
My love life, the love for my family, a lot of that's stopping. Where can the people find you, Graham?
We'll also check out more John's Jargon on the website. We just recently celebrated the 2 year anniversary of John's Jargon on nextwrestling.net. So check out the column on the website. But yeah, like I said, if you guys want to send in questions, as always, be sure to tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant. At WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM, on Facebook too at facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews, with the post on Sunday nights, usually on Sunday nights. Leave a comment on the post itself or on the wall, and right down below in the comments section, right down there, leave a comment on the video. Be sure to include your question in next week's edition. That's it. I am fucking tired. I'm going to go take a nap. Probably not. I'm going to go do something else with John. Maybe rewatch SummerSlam. Go reevaluate what wrestling shows I'll be at the next 10 years because I'm fucking dead. But we will be at the Barclays Center next year. And we got to meet a lot of cool people over the weekend at all 3 shows. So thanks to everyone who came out. And I look forward to seeing you all next year and next week right here on #SGSM. So John, take it away.
Have a nice day. And before anything else happens, until the end.